Well, class, this is a short little lecture on Chapter 8. I apologize, somewhat behind schedule because of the requirements of my work, but I just want to go through a few things with you. This is very much an area, organizational structure, where business and law are going to overlap. So let me just talk about a few things here. The book talks about several types of structures. I want to focus on 3 of them with you, give some examples that you can look up and kind of try to understand on a practical level what's happening. The first one is a vertical structure, right? Vertical structure this way. This is very top-down. It's divisions, breakdown. In other words, there's a president, there's a vice president, there's a director. Think of, I give GM as an example. GM used to have Pontiac, Chevrolet, Buick, Humvee, Saab, Volvo, had all these divisions. And within each division there was a structure that led up to a vice president or maybe a director, and then he reported to the CEO. So there was a very, like a tree structure. The tree was very vertical. So that's what we mean by vertical structure. Horizontal structure, in other words, this way, is when you have areas or silos. In other words, you have a marketing department. They take care of everything. You have maybe a legal department. You might have a sales department. You might have a finance department. Each one, we call them a silo. Okay? In other words, like a silo like you'd see in a barn. Okay? Each silo. You could also, I would suggest to you, have a horizontal structure when you're having numerous companies spun off. In other words, you still have a CEO, right? But they're really not divisions anymore. You have a group, shall we say, okay, that is building, and I make reference to Perini Construction, is building airports. Okay, that's their group. And they do all the airports. Then you have another one that does dams. You have another one that does roads and things like that. It's this idea of a horizontal structure, okay, where the major working units, okay, are all reporting up. Okay, so when you go into the room, you get a representative of each operating structure within the company present. By that I mean the staff positions and the line positions. Decentralized structure, and this is the Zappos model. Under this model, everybody's potentially a boss, everybody's potentially a worker. This puts a lot of pressure on everybody to participate, but also gives a lot of authority to people. We'll talk about that in a second. And under the decentralized model, everybody and anybody can make a decision for the company. So if you have those structures, the next question becomes, from a legal standpoint, how do we maintain them and why do they exist? So let's look at that. The first, maintenance, shall we say, is respect. You have to have respect for the structure. If there's no respect for the structure, it quickly dissolves. What do we mean by respect? I always used to say to my clients when they create a company and became the CEO, it's like you had another child. They have their own checking account. They have their own social security number. They have their own, they may have their own tools. Everything is theirs. It is separate from your own. And you must respect that at all times. If you don't respect it, in other words, you start using the company's money as if it's your own. Use the tools as if they're own. Okay? Then it goes away, and the structure that you created, be it a horizontal, vertical, whatever, decentralized, it just goes away, and all there is sole proprietorship. It's just you by yourself. Okay? So you have to have respect for the structure. What is your position in it, or other people's position in it? Next, what was the purpose that you created this structure for? Now, think of it this way. If you're General Motors and you have all these divisions, you did it because you had different cars that you were making. If you're Perini Construction, you did it because maybe you wanted to have a representative of all these departments present, or you wanted the guys that only did dams to be present and all their people there. Okay? You had a purpose that went to the reason you did it the way you did. Zappos does a decentralized structure because they want maximum customer satisfaction. So everybody's a boss. They can all make a decision. They can all make a change if they all get together, enough people vote on it. So why is the purpose, what was the purpose behind the structure that you chose is very important. Okay? So you got to respect it, you got to understand the purpose. The next 2 walk hand in hand. First, authority. You lay out a structure, be it vertical or horizontal. Everybody gets a level of authority. Okay? And let me give you an example as we work up the tree. If you're in a big company and you're a worker, you might be able to sign off on a purchase of, let's say, $50 or less. Then they make you a director, you can be $1,000 or less. A vice president might be $10,000 or less. You might be a director of the company and you might be able to do $100,000. Only the CEO, let's say, can sign off on $1 million. In other words, there are different authority levels, and you might be higher or fire, etc. So the question with authority, when you look at a person's position in the company or what their position is, who has it and who doesn't have it? Very important. But now lockstep with that is responsibility. In other words, now we gave the person authority to do something. The question becomes, who's responsible here? Are they responsible? It's very possible that a person, these are the worst case scenarios, where a person is given responsibility, right, but has no authority. Or he has authority, but he says, I don't have any responsibility for what happens. Okay? So if we're giving you the authority, normally there's some level of responsibility with it. If we don't give you the authority, normally there's a lesser level of responsibility. So these two could operate very much on a parallel spectrum. Okay? So these are the major considerations, as you read the book and as you look at the different structures, that you ask yourself, why did the person, are they, the example that you look at in the book, are they respecting what the structure is, or is that where the problem happened? What was the purpose of the authority and responsibility? If you think about these, as you look at the cases, any case study, you'll notice there's a breakdown normally in one of these areas when the organization starts to break down. Okay, I'll see you soon. That's chapter 8. We're going on to 9 and 10 next. I'll get that posted in a more timely fashion for you so you'll be able to read it. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.